Hello and welcome to the second episode of Introduction to Philosophy, Summer 2024 edition, post-tornado. Fortunately, we have not had another tornado yesterday or today, but of course, there's always bad weather waiting. So, in terms of attendance stuff again, attendance is generally important for practical terms because it's how, I believe, the sign is sent for federal financial aid to be dispersed. And so to be marked as attending in the class, the thing to do is complete at least one thing. So I've got an announcement posted here. Two good options are the syllabus quiz, just about the syllabus, and the STARS pre-survey. This is an automatic 100% if you complete it, so that's a good start. So the material for today, so the way it's set up is what I do is I do announcements each day for the content for the class that day. But again, this is an asynchronous class, which means there's no set time where we meet and do stuff. And you do the class at your own pace. Just be sure to complete it before the end of the semester. And so this would be class 2. The way it's set up is it's assuming 4 days a week. Monday through Thursday. This goes back to some years ago. There was this push to save money somehow by having a 4-day work week. That lasted one summer, then we never spoke of it again. But one legacy of that is many semester A classes and summer classes are still on the Monday through Thursday schedule. You can use whatever schedule you want, but I'm just kind of doing it that way. So the second class consists of more introduction to philosophy. The content here are some misconceptions about philosophy. These include such things as philosophy is just opinion, which is where philosophy begins, but not where it ends. And also the misconception that philosophy is useless, which it's not. Kind of my 22-second sales pitch essentially is none of this online stuff would be possible without philosophy. Because philosophers, specifically Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz, developed binary mathematics, zeros and ones, and that enabled the development of computers and stuff like Facebook and Canvas, etc. So philosophy, very useful. There's, of course, the question of what has philosophy done for us lately, and some answers to that are in the video Misconceptions about Philosophy. There's also the content for argument basics. And philosophically, arguing is not, fighting and disputing, although it can include that. Essentially, it's trying to prove your claim, what's called the conclusion, to presenting evidence, which are called premises. And this is covered in Argument Basics 1. We go over the very basics of Argument Basics, and then some particular types of inductive reasoning, the analogical argument, where we compare things. This is like this other thing in certain ways, therefore they're alike in some other way. So, for example, a person might do an historical analogy comparing the United States of today to, say, what was occurring in Germany in the 1930s for people concerned about, fascism and stuff. Or you might have a moral analogy comparing, for example, the use of drones to, intrude on people's space as analogous to just physically doing it, going in, putting a ladder against somebody's house and peering through their window. There's also the argument by example, which, shockingly enough, involves arguing by giving examples. And so a person might prove, for example, that they have lots of experience relevant to the job they're applying for by listing their past job experiences. And so, interestingly or boringly enough, in many ways, a resume can involve arguments by example. Proof that one has got education, you list examples of education. Proof that one has job experience, listing examples of job experience. And then the last argument is the argument from authorité, which essentially is contending that a claim is true because the person making the claim is a authority. Not an authority in the sense of like being an authoritarian, like a dictator or a strongman, but in the sense of being an expert. And the idea is that if a person is an expert, they have training and knowledge and experience, so the claims they make in their field are likely to be true. If you have a look at the video, you'll see this is a fairly weak argument because essentially it rests on the idea that, okay, this person is an expert, they say this, they probably know what they're talking about, so they're probably right. but because of that, it's fairly weak. And there's various details about that. So kind of the core content for class 2 is seeing that philosophy is not just opinion, seeing that, hopefully making the case that philosophy is not useless, and then the argument basics, looking at the basic stuff about arguments, and then 3 very useful arguments that are inductive: the analogical argument, the argument by or from example, and lastly, the argument from authority. So that's a quick run through of the stuff for today. For the readings and files, nothing new there. There's just the all the notes and all the readings are in one place. And for the coursework, there's quiz 2. Again, you don't have to do like the work for that class that day. The important thing is to look for the due dates to know when stuff is due, and more importantly, to know the deadlines or available until dates, because that's when it's available until. And the quiz for part 2 is about that content, the misconceptions about philosophy and argument basics. And like all the quizzes, it's a 5-minute quiz, and the timer keeps on ticking even when you stop. So that's the overview for class number 2. So have a good day, stay safe, and I'll see you in the future.